definitely tell it was.
Good evening and welcome to the Novi Board of Education regular meeting of Thursday, November 15th, 2018. I would entertain a roll call vote, Mr. Mena.
Trustee Cook.
Here.
Trustee Hood.
Here.
Trustee Mena here. Trustee Murphy.
Here.
Trustee O'Connor.
Here.
Trustee Smith.
Here.
And I think Trustee Stevenson.
Trustee Stevenson is ill this
Is
evening.
excused.
Yes, thank you all for being here. If you would all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. We do have an item on the agenda before the approval of our agenda because we have some students here from Novi Middle School. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves and tell us what's going on at the middle school?
My name is Dia, and I'm in the 8th grade. I'm the secretary of Novi Middle School Student Council.
Hello, I'm Chetan Padibuena. I'm in 7th grade, and I'm the president of Novi, in Student Council of Novi Middle School.
On October 19th, the Student Council sponsored a Halloween activity event. It was a huge success, and approximately 250 students had attended. The students had an opportunity to play basketball, dance, and they were able to purchase pizza and snacks. The best part was that they got to wear their costumes. It was a ton of fun, and the teachers had the opportunity to dress up as well.
We celebrate the idea of Red Ribbon Week on October 22nd to 26th. It is a nationally recognized event to encourage students to live drug-free. We had spirit days that include Neon Day, Too Bright for Drugs, Superhero Day, Overpowering Drugs, Crazy Hat Day and Socks Day, Drug-Free from Head to Toe, Pajama Day, Put Drugs to Rest, and Red Day, Wear Red in honor of Red Ribbon Week. The best dressed students for each Spirit Day won a gift card. In Academic 20, students creatively decorate classroom doors with healthy themes throughout the week. The best 7th and 8th grade doors won pizza parties, and the runner-ups for each grade level won cookies. Lastly, every student got a bracelet that said, Live drug-free, drugs are not for me, and a piece of red licorice. These gifts, along with the gift cards and other prizes throughout the week, were generously purchased by the middle school's amazing PTO. Thank you, PTO. It was a very fun and healthy week.
The Student Council is currently sponsoring a collection for a group in Detroit called the York Project. This group provides kits filled with daily essentials for the homeless people in Detroit. Each kit contains a pair of socks, gloves, toilet paper, and a water bottle. Our students are donating these items. We are excited to see how this turns out. It will help many of the homeless people in Detroit. On Tuesday, November 6th at 5 a.m., 368 8th graders and 32 adult chaperones left for the annual trip to Washington, D.C. The students were very excited for this trip. Mr. Fenchel said it would be a great trip if we all returned. Luckily, we did all return.
In choir news, on October 25th, 185 choir students participated in our Broadway-themed fall concert. The concert includes songs from Broadway musicals Phantom of the Opera, Les Miserables, Wicked, Newsies, and Grease. It was a lovely evening enjoyed by all.
On Saturday, October 20th, 28 middle school students sang in the Southeast Regional Honors Choir and auditioned for the All-State Choir. Congratulations to all that participated. Novi Middle School choir students did very well. In fact, 19 of our students were selected to join the Michigan State Vocal Music Association All-State Choir.
Fantastic. And is that the end of your report? That's a lot going on at the middle school. Thanks. Thanks for sharing all of October with us. We appreciate that. Sounds like it was a great event. All right, next we have the approval of the agenda. I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been moved by Mrs. Hood and supported by Mr. Smith. All those in favor, please say.
Roll call.
Oh, yes, we do need to do a roll call vote. Mr. Menon.
Trustee Cook. Yes. Trustee Hood.
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee O'Connor.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Terrific. Motion carries 6-0. Next, we have awards, recognitions, and presentations. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Tonight, Novi High School Principal Nicole Carter will present the 29 seniors from the class of 2019 that have been named National Merit Scholarship Program semifinalists. Last spring, 1.6 million high school juniors entered the National Merit Scholarship Program by taking a qualifying test, which serves as their initial screening of program entrance. For 2018, only 16,000 of the students became qualified as semifinalists. Our 29 seniors are among the highest scoring entrants in the state of Michigan, and they are here to be congratulated this evening. Ms. Carter.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. Good evening, members of the Board of Education and the distinguished guest. It's an absolute honor to be here on behalf of Novi High School, Novi Community School District. As you all know, it's another great day to be a Novi Wildcat. As principal, this is by far one of my favorite events and activities where we get an opportunity to honor Novi's brightest and best. So as mentioned by Dr. Matthews, the National Merit Scholarship Program is comprised of approximately 1.6 million students in more than 22,000 high schools enter into this program. Only 16,000 of these students qualify as semifinalists. We have 29 students who have qualified. Let me reiterate that. Novi High School has 29 students who have qualified. That is a remarkable feat. These students represent less than 1% of U.S. high school seniors. Novi High School's brightest and best, these students not only get after it when it comes to achieving at a ridiculously high level on standardized assessments, but these students are driven and committed to excellence each and every day by taking a variety of very rigorous courses. So comprised out of the 29 students, they have taken 249 advanced placement courses, 46 international baccalaureate courses. They have taken and or are enrolled in 28 dual enrollment courses. 17 of these dynamic 29 students started their educational experience as kindergartners within the Novi Community School District. They actually actively participate in 21 clubs, and they also participate on 8 athletic teams. 23 out of the 29 volunteer at local organizations. These students truly are the best. At this time, I will be introducing each student to you. When I call your name, if you could please be so kind as to come to the podium to receive your recognition certificate. And please note, there are several students who could not be with us this evening because they had commitments, such as 3 are in dual enrollment classes that they could not get out of, as well as 2 of them are participating in the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, and they have a major competition presentation tomorrow evening. So without further ado, the very first student is Shivan Acharya. Our second student is AJ Aurora. Next, we have Daniel Choi. Next, we have Zachary Dembinski. Next, we have Nazar Daria. Jamie Fu. Danielle Garden. Ann George. Jennifer Guo. Luke Hornsberg. Danielle Kevelin. Lily Kosaka. Andrew Lee. Vincent Ma. Adbe Mushor. Suhas, Nevada. Saranya Nastala. Donga Pike. Amanda Pudi. Rithvik Rao. Madhu Vishnu Sankar Reddy Ramareddy. Alexander Ratsnami. Anjali Singh. Rishi Thalapalli. Roshan Vadera. Amy Wang. Nab Warich. Sylvia Way. Jessica Wu. And at this time, I would like to congratulate the parents, guardians, family, and friends who are present this evening. This truly is a testament to your unwavering support that you have for your child. And so let's give our parents, guardians, family, and friends a round of applause as well. And lastly, I would like to recognize and sincerely thank the outstanding educators within the Novi Community School District. Our teachers challenge our students to give their very, very best on a daily basis. And without them, their encouragement, their guidance, and their support, our students would not be able to achieve at such a high level. So congratulations again, and job well done.
I know you said it was one of your favorites nights. It's also one of ours. To see how much you guys have achieved, and really makes it worth it, because we're here to kind of set the policies that put things in place for you guys to excel. So we look forward. I know we're going to see you again on honors night and again at graduation and all those kinds of things. So we look forward to that and just to hearing about your future plans as well. And we hope that you'll stay in touch with the Novi Community School District as you go out in the world, because we like hearing about your success beyond this moment as well. So I don't know if other board members have comments that they'd like to make, but we are certainly very proud of you, very proud to be serving you really in the roles that we are in, and the rest of the district as well. So thanks for setting the tone for your fellow students, and also for, I guess, following directions really well too. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for being here and joining us this evening. Anybody else? Yeah, we are just, this is a thrilling night for us, because sometimes we sit here and we don't have, we talk about budgets and we talk about a lot of other things, but at the end of the day, you're why we're here. So getting to see all your faces on this evening. Come back and see us anytime. We're here Thursday nights, 7 o'clock. All right. Thank you. Next, we will move on to well, we can take a small break because you guys might have to study. So we will allow you to, unless you want to stick around for the rest of our meeting, we will allow a few moments for you guys to take some pictures out in the hallway with your friends or whatever, and your family, and we will resume our meeting after 5 minutes.
Pardon me?
mezzanine level.
Garden.
Garden level.
Garden.
There we are. And we are back. We took a short break to allow our National Merit semifinalists to go study. And I will turn to you, Dr. Matthews, for a B on our awards, recognitions, and presentations.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. We tonight are pleased to bring in a gift to the board for acceptance. The donation of $20,000 for sponsorship of the Novi High School Partners in Excellence Program, the Medical Careers Exploration Program. And it's donated by Ascension Providence Hospital, formerly St. John's Providence Mission Fund. And so the recommendation would be that the Novi Community Schools Board of Education accept this donation as presented with gratitude and appreciation.
All right. I would entertain a motion. Mr. Cook?
I recommend that the Novi Community School Board of Education accept the donation as presented with gratitude, appreciation, and thanks.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Mr. Cook and supported by Mr. O'Connor. Is there any discussion on the item? I think we are all very grateful. Oh, Mr. O'Connor.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I believe this, Dr. Matthews, is this the 6th or 7th year, I believe, that we've gotten the $20,000 donation. It has been such a great program, and what I think what's really great about it is in education, when everyone's talking about different ways that we need to look at differentiated instruction and how we approach our high school kids, this really has been that exploratory model, which is really, the name of the program by Medical Exploration. It's really has been groundbreaking and really led the way in Michigan in terms of how our kids really approach the medical field. So it's been a great partnership, and it's great that hopefully it'll continue for years.
I would also say that it's a huge example of we hear a lot about CTE and career and technical education opportunities. This has been going on for at least 9 years, and I believe 10. With Providence, where our kids get real world opportunities and those chances to interface with jobs and professions in the future. So looking at this along with the work that we've done with Kamau as well as our Oakland Technical Academy and so on, the opportunity for our kids to have experiences in technical fields as well. And a lot of people think, well, it's medicine. It's way beyond that. If we've been to a hospital, we know it's a small city. Many different jobs from top to bottom. That it's not just being a nurse or a doctor, but so many other things that our kids experience there. So huge thanks to Providence for that. And I think of all the people that along the way have helped. Emily Polonsky needs to be recognized as far as really the shepherd of this program for our district for at least the past decade.
Yes, I think we're all tremendously grateful for that opportunity and the partnership that we've developed with them. It's been a blessing for our kids, certainly in the district as a whole. I don't know exactly how many kids' lives that have touched, but at some point in time, I would love to see the numbers of how many kids have been through that program. And gosh, it'd be nice if we could track and see what they're doing now. Anyways, I would...
Well, I do know Ms. Polonsky does stay in touch with them, and it really is a who's who of folks who are already teaching at the university level, who are graduates from there to practicing doctors, nurses, and through the field. So Ms. Polonsky does a nice job of that, and really, if we asked her for a few anecdotals, I think she could give us that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. It'd certainly probably be fantastic for Ascension to also hear how many lives that they have touched with their generous contribution to us. So. All right, fantastic. I will call the question. All those in favor? Oh, I will not call the question. I will ask for a roll call vote from Mr. Mena.
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Hood?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee O'Connor?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Yes, motion passes 6-0. Next is our first opportunity for comments from the audience. This is the first opportunity for items or comments related to our agenda items. If there is anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the board, we would appreciate if you'd fill out a green card and turn it in to Ms. Holly in the back, and then approach the podium and state your name. Seeing no one approach the podium, we will move on to our consent items agenda. We have Dr. Matthews. I'll turn to you on that.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. We have 3 consent items for the board this evening. Minutes from the November 1st, 2018 meeting. The check register for October 2018, and including the purchase card report. And then the approval of a standing field trip, which is the University of Michigan Model UN Conference.
All right. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mena.
Support.
Supported by Mr. Cook. There's no discussion necessary on these consent items, so I will ask for a roll call vote.
Trustee Cook? Yes. Trustee Hood?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee O'Connor?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Next, we have our action items. First is personnel recommendations. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy, and I will turn to Dr. Kinzer.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. This evening we have one new hire. This is Lori Crode, who is a care leader at Novi Meadows. This is a position change. She was a care aide previously. And we also have two resignations. Andrew Deckart, a special education parapro at the middle school, and Christy Dorsch, social worker at Deerfield.
All right, I will entertain a motion. Mr. Cook?
I move that the Novi Community School District Board of Education adopts personnel report recommendations as presented.
It's been moved by Mr. Cook and supported by Mrs. Hood. Is there any questions or comments about our personnel recommendations this evening? Seeing none, we will be looking again to hire another social worker then? Okay. All right, so we'll be seeing you again with another personnel report. It just never ends. All right, fantastic. I will call the question. No, I won't. I will turn to Mr. Mena for a roll call vote.
All right. Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Hood?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee O'Connor?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Next is a school bus purchase. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. This was reviewed with the board previously, but I would turn to Ms. Minnick if you have any questions about the purchase that we're recommending for the board this evening.
I might add that I was able to determine some answers to Trustee Cook's questions. I wanted to mention that the average years in service of our fleet will be reduced from 3.6 years to 3.2 years, and our average mileage per bus will be reduced from 58,800 to about 52,200 miles.
All right. Any additional? First, I would actually entertain a motion. Mr. Cook?
I move that the Novi Community School District Board of Education purchase the 3 additional buses at a cost of $294,279, and that the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations be awarded the funds out of the bond, 2014 bond.
Terrific. Is there support?
Support.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Cook and supported by Mr. Mena. Mr. Mena, is there any additional discussion? I know we had this on the agenda last time. Mr. O'Connor, I know that you were not able to be here. Do you have any questions about the bus purchase?
I reviewed it. Everything's fine. Thank you.
Okay, terrific. All right, then, roll call vote, Mr. Mena?
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Hood?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee O'Connor?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Next is our summer tax levy.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. This was also discussed with the board on November 1st, and this comes to the board so that we would recommend that the summer tax collection be 50%. Ms. Minnick, if you have additional comments or questions that you can answer from the board, she is available to do that.
Just to refresh the board's memory, in October, the board approved this year's winter tax levy. So before you is a resolution to levy 50% of next year's total levy in the summer of 2019. We don't know what that levy will be yet. That'll happen in the spring, in May. But it is a requirement by the state of Michigan that we have this resolution on file by December 31st.
All right. We do not have the language of a recommendation in our packet. Would someone like to?
Sure. I'd move that the Novi Community School District Board of Education allow the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations to move forward and file the appropriate paperwork so that we could collect the 2019 summer tax levy.
At 50%.
At 50%.
Support.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. It's been moved by Mr. Smith, supported by Mr. Cook. If there are no questions on this, this is just a service that we have to do every year in order to split our tax bill up, right? So
That's
every November, we have to vote on this so that we can go forward and levy the appropriate amounts
That's correct.
in the coming year. So Given that, I will have you do a roll call vote, Mr. Mena.
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Hood?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee O'Connor?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Next, we have for information discussion, strategic planning. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. On August 13th, 2011, the Board of Education and Cabinet met to discuss district-wide goals. The purpose of this meeting was to examine the district's stated mission and vision and identify goals that would drive the district's improvement process. The district's mission and vision focuses on developing each student's potential, creating a world-class education, and ensuring that each student has the knowledge, skills, and character to be successful. District goals would take these lofty aims and define them. Ultimately, objectives that are measurable and specific would be developed to hold the superintendent accountable. Goals must be long-term but lead to short-term objectives. These short-term objectives help drive the activities of the district. After a spirited and lengthy discussion, 4 goals were identified. These goals identified what we believed the district needed to accomplish in order to fulfill its mission and vision. And those 4 goals back in 2011 were the Novi Community School District will ensure that each student will make no less than 1 year's growth in 1 year's time. The Novi Community School District will ensure that all students will achieve at a high level and that there will be no achievement gaps. The Novi Community School District will maintain a 10% fund balance in order to maintain and enhance opportunities for students. And the Novi Community School District will create common language, systems, and principles to improve organizational quality. Over the next several years, these goals were widely shared with our staff and with our community. The district administration used these goals to focus on important academic and organizational improvements. These goals also formed the foundation for the district to propose a bond in 2014 that focused on sustaining excellence. The bond was widely supported and has led to facility, program, and curricular improvements in the district. So this 2-step process worked. In 2017, the board and district administration worked together to review the goals established in 2011. The framework of the 4 goals was kept with some modification. And the new goals that were developed are 1, the Novi Community School District will ensure that all students achieve and grow at a high level while reducing the achievement gap. 2, the Novi Community School District will provide innovative opportunities to develop the whole students that foster academic, social, and emotional growth. The Novi Community School District will be fiscally responsible by maintaining a minimum 10% fund balance while striving to maintain low class sizes. And the Novi Community School District will provide high-quality organizational and customer service to all stakeholders in a safe learning environment. The question is, where do we go now? The key issue is, do we have a clear vision of where we want to head as a district? While we have been very clear on our goals, I believe that we need to engage in a process that would encourage stakeholder participation in planning and supporting the direction of the district. I believe that a well-coordinated strategic planning process would help us as a district to do the following. 1, identify clear and focused strategic goals. 2, engage a wide cross-section of our community in thinking about district goals. And 3, provide a framework for future bond considerations. Strategic planning is as good as an institution makes it. The process can be just for show and result in a nice binder that sits on a shelf, or it can be a dynamic process that brings the community together to move forward in a positive manner. I'm hopeful that we can make this a dynamic process that will help us focus our efforts and continue to move the district forward. Part of the superintendent's evaluation focuses on engaging the students, staff, and community in conversations about district goals. We have not done this in a systematic and inclusive manner since 2011. I am proposing that we engage in a strategic planning process that would focus on reviewing our mission and vision, district goals, and identifying next steps to continue moving our district forward. On October 4th, 2018, Scott Morrell, Senior Facilitator for the Michigan Association of School Boards, came to our board meeting to describe their strategic planning process. The board asked if any additional vendors were contacted about strategic planning. At that time, no other providers had been contacted. Since that time, I have contacted, based on the recommendations from other superintendents and other contacts, the following facilitators: Dr. Suzanne Klein and Dr. Kay Cornell, who operate out of Oakland University, the Michigan Leadership Institute, Gartner and Associates, and Lee Brozowski of the Sarasota Center for Innovation. I provided a summary for the board of the conversations that I had with each of these other providers. And you can see their process and also their associated costs. Strategic planning is a process that has a long and complicated history in public education. Clearly, thinking through and thinking about the direction for an organization is important. There are many examples of school districts that have used strategic planning to move a district forward and to create wonderful opportunities for students. Many superintendents engage in the process on a regular basis. The Rockford Public Schools, the Hudsonville Public Schools, the Grand Ledge Public Schools are examples of districts that use strategic planning on a regular, ongoing basis to identify what they want their districts to be and how to get there. On the other hand, there are also examples of districts that engage in strategic planning, create a report, and never look at it again. At times, strategic planning is used as a tool to reach a predetermined end that either the board or the superintendent wants to reach. Here in Novi, during the past 8 years, we have used our own process of strategic planning. First, we have spent considerable time and energy identifying and then working toward achieving district goals. These have driven many of the strategic initiatives that we have embarked on in the last 8 years. Initiatives such as creating a more robust curriculum, used Atlas Rubicon to ensure that each grade and all subjects had the opportunity to evaluate and identify core content and resources, gathering and using data more strategically, instituting the NWA testing K through 10 in both the fall and spring, creating a student growth process that is used for all teachers and administrators each year, increasing the number of instructional supports for students, increase the number of English learner teachers, increase the number of reading support teachers, hired math support teachers, created an MTSS academic support system that addresses the needs of general education students, created a special education continuum for the range of needs in special education, created the Novi Adult Transition Center for our special education students, increasing the type and number of social and emotional supports for students, increase the number of social workers available to both general education and special education students, created an MTSS behavioral support system that addresses the needs of general education students. Addressing school safety, we've trained all staff on the ALICE protocols, added a second police liaison to our district, created scenario-based drills in all our buildings. Addressing customer service, provided Zingerman customer service training for all secretarial and administrative staff. Collecting parent and student feedback through surveys, using multiple parent surveys to collect information on issues ranging from district goals to parental satisfaction, creating and deploying a student survey in grades 5 through 12. And improving student achievement. We've improved performance in core subjects on the MEP, MSTEP, and the MME. In addition, we used the Community and Staff Committee to identify strategic building infrastructure and technology needs and vision for the future to do the following. We added classrooms at Deerfield, Novi Meadows, Parkview, and Village Oaks. We built an early childhood education center. We built a new fitness facility at the high school. We added technology to the district. We addressed issues related to network infrastructure, and we addressed building needs such as roofs, boilers, parking lots, and etc. The question is, how do we proceed? We could continue our own process. Our process has not been as formal as many strategic planning processes. In addition, the responsibility falls directly on our staff. At this point, I believe that using an outside facilitator would be beneficial to the district. It would give us a neutral third party to help gain perspective on our district. In addition, I believe that we could benefit from a neutral third party and the insight that could come from such a process. Including the Michigan Association of School Boards, 5 vendors for strategic planning services have been considered. Based on the conversations with these facilitators, I would recommend the Michigan Association of School Boards as a choice for our process. I make this recommendation for the following reasons. 1, the process outlined by MASB provides for a wide spectrum of community and stakeholder input. The process uses data to connect us with peer districts. The deliverable is a focused report on broad strategic goals that the administration could work to implement. The time frame for completion of this strategic planning process fits well with our needs. January and February, we would engage in of 2019, we would engage in strategic planning. Late February through April of 2019, we would do bond visioning and discussions. May 2019, we would bring to the board discussion of a potential proposed bond if we come to consensus on that. And then June of 2019, the board would consider the proposed bond vote for November of 2019 if that is indeed our recommendation. And also the cost is reasonable. At the December 6th board meeting, I'll make a recommendation to the board to support MASB as the vendor for our strategic planning process. I would, after conversations with Mr. O'Connor, suggest to the board that it might be advisable for us to make a modification with MASB and work with MASB to have the strategic planning committee roll into our bond committee so that it's one group of people that works together over the course of 3 or 4 months to bring both the strategic plan and the bond proposal potentially to the board. And I would work with MASB to kind of help them understand what our vision for strategic planning and the bond considerations would be, so that we could get this process completed by May, because we have a tight window with our finances to ensure that we get a vote if that's indeed the direction that we choose to go before the voters in November. And we don't want this process to get bogged down and take an inordinate amount of time, because we would miss that window. So that would be the one kind of change I would make to the process that MASB recommended, that we would use the committee for both strategic planning and the bond consideration. So that would be my recommendation, and we would bring this back to the board on December 6th for approval.
All right. This is an information and discussion item. Board members have things that they would like to address about the strategic planning process?
Well,
Mr. Cook?
if I may. One thing that I noticed in here that was different from what the MASB said, and what Dr. Klein and Dr. Cornell proposed, was a review of the current mission and vision and beliefs to see if that needed to be updated, or if I guess we kind of did that on our own, but that's another step that I think may be beneficial.
Yep. In conversations with Mr. Morrell, we've talked about bringing that as part of the conversation package that we have with that committee.
Okay. And then my other concern on all this, and it has to do with alignment from top down. You know, we do this, we get our goals for our district, we set our district goals for the superintendent, but then once we start going on down from there, we switch over to Marzano's evaluation strategy, which is very slim on, doesn't take too much of our district goals and what we would be spending all this time on in the evaluation and what our teachers and administrators are doing. And that's kind of a big concern for me on any of this. So with the MASB, at least we're using the superintendent evaluation tool, and we may be able to get that aligned a little bit better, but I'd like to see something go further on down.
And I agree with you. We're a little bit hamstrung because the state has identified for administrative and teacher evaluations kind of a limited set of options, but we could certainly work with Dr. Kinzer to look to how to integrate some of the strategic goals that come out of this process with our teacher and administrator evaluation process. Because I agree that if we spend all this time on this, it should be something that the whole organization focuses on.
All right. Other board members? Questions or comments? Mrs. Hood?
Just a little bit. I agree with Mr. Cook that our mission and vision could probably use refreshing, or at least looking at again, so I like that idea. I also, in reading through the details, I liked the MASB's approach. It seemed to be a little more, or had a little more community focus, and I think, given the number of applicants we had for our spot on the board, I think our community is eager to have more interaction and involvement with the district. So I think that's a great idea. And I also think it's a good time frame. So it's a good proposal.
Okay. Other board members care to weigh in on the...
I have a question.
Certainly.
Will it be up to Scott Morrell to go through the names that are nominated to be on the committee, to choose what would ultimately then be whatever we would describe as a diverse mix of community, faculty, staff? How do we decide who sits at the table?
That would be up to us to decide, up to the board to weigh in.
They do have a grid. He
Right.
shared with Dr. Matthews and I where they have a grid of people to make sure that they have somebody represented from every age group, every school group, they ask for...
All the boosters.
Booster groups. They actually ask for community members from clergy, et cetera, to people that interact with our students and our kids. They ask for alumni to serve on it. So they have kind of a grid that they work from that they would try and fill in with. We could certainly share recommendations and probably have backup, both these people would do this, but somebody might not be available on the day we would pick to do it.
So before that team is finalized, as a board, we would be able to have discussion and say, I think this individual might be a better fit to represent that slot on the grid. And then do we have an idea of how many people are going to be on that grid? 20 people?
Yep. Mr. Morrell had kind of mentioned a committee of 50 to 60, but I think that might be too big, and so
I agree.
So I would think that we would try to get a committee of maybe between 20 and 30 people that would represent the various constituencies in the district. As Ms. Murphy said, all the schools would be represented. Teachers group, administrators, but also civic leaders, clergy, community leaders, alumni, college students if we can get some. So, but it would be a committee, a much smaller committee than what was originally proposed, especially because we want this committee to kind of transform into the bond committee as well. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I guess it was my understanding from him that those people are picked to participate in that day-long thing. They aren't necessarily,
correct.
right? So it could be 50 people for that day-long thing, but out of that group could come a smaller group of people that then would be committed both to the bond and to follow up on the strategic plan, which they do a follow-up.
But we're going to work with Mr. Morrell to help him understand what our vision would be for this process, so that MASB kind of fulfills our vision as opposed to us fulfilling what they.
Just a couple other quick ones. Will one of the categories, or could one of the categories be, because I heard a lot of different things, I didn't hear anything about diversity.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
So that'll be part of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many people sat on the committee, the bond committee, last time?
There were about, as I recall, 18 to 20.
Because that seemed to work really well.
Right.
So I don't know if we want to mess with that formula too
Right.
much.
And one of the concerns is that you want voices, you want a lot of voices to be heard, but we also want some focus to the process as well. And so we have a limited time frame, and so we're going to construct a process that will get us hear the voices of the community, but also make sure that we meet the timelines that we need to meet.
Yeah, and there is a survey involved too. So
Correct.
those people that don't get chosen to participate in the day-long thing can also.
There'll be parent and staff.
Yeah, so certainly be an opportunity to, and I think they send it out to the community too, so they have the opportunity to weigh in on different things. So, other questions or comments?
So this will come back to the board on December 6th, kind of for formal approval. Once the board formally approves it, but between now and December 6th, we'll be asking the board for names. The goal would be after the board approves it, on December 7th, we would send out letters to the people that we want to serve on the committee so that they could start planning. We would have the schedule lined out so that they could start to see if they can meet the times that we would need to meet.
Well, what exactly would we be approving? Are we approving a facilitator? Are we approving process?
Approving MASB, it's a cost, and so we want the board to approve that cost.
Are you good? You good with that? Okay. So between now and the 6th, you'd like us to get you names?
Names of people that you would
People that you believe
recommend to be on the committee. Because we're going to ask them for a full Saturday, we're going to ask them for meetings throughout January through April. We're going to need probably more names initially because people won't be able to make the meeting. And a person could miss a meeting perhaps or two, but we wouldn't want somebody who could only come to half of the meetings. We would want them to fully participate.
All right. Anything else on that? All right. Fantastic. We will move on to our second opportunity for comments from the audience. This is the opportunity for anyone to approach the board about anything in our jurisdiction. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the board this evening? Seeing no one approach the podium, next we have our superintendent's report. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. I'd like to congratulate Danielle Ruskin and Mary Ann Ronnie and Tom Smith for being elected to the Novi Community School District Board of Education. Ms. Ruskin will serve for 2 years. Ms. Ronnie and Mr. Smith will serve for 6 years. An orientation will be scheduled in the next few weeks so that when their terms officially start on January 1st, 2019, they'll be ready to serve. I'd also like to thank those who ran for the board but were unsuccessful. In many communities in our state, no one wants to serve on a board of education. Here in Novi, we are blessed to have citizens who want to be part of building a great school district. I would especially like to thank Ms. Stevenson for her 6 years of service. We will formally recognize her in December, but she served our community well during her 6 years on the board. On November 6th, the voters of Michigan also approved a recreational marijuana proposal. While the details of what this means are still to be worked out, it is important to note that marijuana and other drugs will still be illegal to bring onto school property or to have at school-sponsored events. Students and staff cannot be under the influence of drugs while at school, and our district will still have drug and alcohol-free workplace policies. As we head into the holiday season over the next several weeks, many schools will have concerts, band, orchestra, choir, dance. I would encourage our community and parents to attend these events because they are truly wonderful. Our students are very talented and would love to see you at one of their performances. Finally, Ms. Murphy and I chaperoned the 8th grade students on their field trip to Washington, D.C. We survived, just barely, as did the 8th graders. We were scheduled to arrive home at midnight on Friday night, and Ms. Murphy's bus got in at 3:30 along with my bus, and so we had a 14-hour bus ride with 8th grade students. It was, and we ate at Golden Corral as well. If you've never eaten at Golden Corral with 200 8th grade students, you have missed an experience. So I would like to thank Ken Finchel, who organizes the event, and the other 30 staff members who participate as chaperones. I would like to thank Chief Malloy, who allowed our new police liaison, Detective Julie Warren, to participate as a chaperone as well. So that's my report for this evening.
Terrific, thank you. Our administrative reports, Ms. Minnick.
Oh, Ms. Murphy? Ms. Murphy? Just want to know if we have an update on the student growth model.
Student growth model, yes, we do have that update, and we will be able to follow up with the board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, President Murphy. At the last board meeting, Secretary Mena raised the question about which properties within our attendance boundaries lie within the city of Wixom. So I reached out to Scott Vess with the Oakland County Treasurer's Office, who spent quite a bit of time with me researching and identifying those parcels of land. The answer is there are only 4 parcels in our attendance area within the city of Wixom. All of them are commercial properties, and they all lie at the southwest corner of the intersection of Wixom Road and Grand River. So that explains why there are no bus routes there or residences. So in that vein, I want to thank Scott Vess with the Oakland County Treasurer's Office for his assistance. He has been very helpful to me as I'm learning more about our district's unique property tax levies, and he is always responsive to my many inquiries, so I appreciate his time researching that with me. I'd also like to thank the City of Novi for inviting Mike Dragoo and me to a pre-construction meeting they held recently this week with their contractors and engineers to plan for the development of the Bosco property. Equipment will begin to be staged at that property, and a little bit of site work will be done over the winter, but the preparation of the site and the construction of the recreational fields will begin in April. Also, just a brief update on the Safe Routes to Schools grant application. I've mentioned at a previous board meeting that the City of Novi asked for our district's collaboration and involvement with their efforts to apply for a federal grant funding through the Safe Routes to Schools program. This program is a national program that enables and encourages children in grades kindergarten through 8th grade to walk to school by providing funding to improve safety and reduce traffic around pathways to schools. The program provides funding for infrastructure improvements, such as sidewalks, and for non-infrastructure improvements, such as bike racks and crossing guard trainings. As part of the grant application, our school district committed to conducting student surveys and parent surveys, as well as walking audits of our pathways and sidewalks to and from our schools. The feedback garnered from these surveys will guide our focus as we complete the application jointly with the City of Novi. The city is hosting a public meeting here in this boardroom on December 6th at 5:30, immediately preceding our board meeting that evening, to share information about the program with the community and their planned uses of any grant funding we may receive. If you have any questions, I'm happy to entertain those now or in the future. Yes, Mr. Cook.
The shipping containers on the Bosco property, is the city going to move those for us, or do we have to move those?
If they belong to us, we will be moving those.
Okay, we will be moving those? Okay.
Yes, we're going to arrange for...
NEFs?
So the NEF trailers.
Right.
I thought the NEF owned them.
They do, but the district has moved them every time they've been moved.
And that's the way it should be.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, moving on. Dr. Kinzer.
Thank you. Tomorrow is the final day of our open enrollment period, where all of our employees make their health insurance selections for the 2019 calendar year. Thank you to Sheila McDonald, who has really coordinated the entire process. She held 5 meetings over the past 2 weeks that were well attended by staff, many questions answered, and our employees are making thoughtful, well-informed decisions. Also, the hiring process for the 2019-20 school year has begun. We have scheduled the second annual Oakland Schools Job Fair. It will be on Saturday, April 27th at Waterford Mott High School.
Wow. Hard to believe. It just seems like you just finished the other one. Okay. And Dr. Weber.
Keeps rolling. So today we were able to inform our students that participated and led our impact work around wellness and well-being that they will be presenting at the Depression on College Campuses event March 13th at the University of Michigan. It's the 19th year of this event. They'll be the first group of K-12 students to participate in this event and actually lead a dialogue there for an hour and a half with representatives from colleges and universities from 80 schools across the country. And what they'll be speaking to primarily is the stress and pressure our kids are under right now, especially in the frame of getting into and getting into colleges and universities. So really proud of our kids for that. And I'll give that information to Dr. Matthews. Board members, you're welcome to attend that event as well, and I know there'll be a few parents there. Tomorrow, ongoing conversations with Kamau to examine a program of study for robotics that we spoke about at a previous board meeting. I'll be Skyping tomorrow with some folks from Kamau in Italy and getting a better idea of how these classes are working. There's about 200 classes running in Europe right now that could help our kids, especially targeting the 6th grade with that. December 3rd, we have our next district parent mental health meeting. That's at the Novi Public Library at 6:30. We had 28 community members at our last event. It was really fantastic and good energy. January 14th, if you haven't registered yet, you might want to. Well, we just released this afternoon. Apparently there are only 10 or 12 seats left out of the 90 for our second part of our series on our Novi Community School District and Parent Mental Health Speaker Series, and this is around relational aggression. Relational aggression is harming others through purposeful manipulation and damage of their peer relationships. This can include, but is not limited to, gossip, exclusion, and silent treatment. This toxic behavior has an especially negative impact on the wellness and mental health of our kids. So that is in conjunction with the Novi Public Library. And the book is Odd Girl Out, and this will be facilitated by, I believe, the president of the Novi Public Library Board, Miss Tara Mitchner. Coffee with the superintendent. Well, Dr. Matthews is at Golden Corral tucking into his extra ice cream or whatever they have there, or
carrot cake,
coconut battered fried shrimp, whatever that is. Miss Lauren Neisel, Hattie McGuire, Darby Hoppenstedt, and I helped facilitate a conversation with our community on writing. It was really fantastic. We had examples of 4th grade writing, 8th grade writing. We actually had the parents grade, if you will, the writing in those papers to see what we're doing as a community school district to get on the same page with that. So thank you to those 3 for being there to help facilitate that. And really that's the work of all of our teachers through the district. We have entire grade levels meeting right now and actually spending a whole day, what we say leveling papers, but with real student work to make sure we have more consistency in something I'm really proud of our staff. And Alice Smith, who will be gone, unfortunately, by the next board meeting. She's retiring, really led this effort around writing, and deeply appreciative for that. And finally, I will be, for the NEF, teaching in Miss Funkgeld's 1st grade class tomorrow in the afternoon. And as an old social studies guy, I was telling Dr. Matthews this beforehand, I think I'm going to take all the 1st grade classes, and we're going to make like Viking helmets out of paper, and then I'm going to teach them. We're going to race through Novi Woods and actually break into other classrooms when they're in session and show and pillage exactly what the Vikings did. Principal Asher actually said, couldn't do that. So I just wanted to say that out loud. That was in my head. I'll come up with another lesson plan tomorrow. Your kids are safe and well. And thank you to the NEF for supporting our community school district the way that they do. That's it.
Terrific. Well, I'd like to be a fly on the wall in the classroom, I think.
Yes.
See what's going on there tomorrow. Next, we have our board communication. Are there, Mr. O'Connor?
Yeah, I just wanted to let the board know the MASB delegate assembly that I attended 2 weeks ago, there were minimal changes and minimal debate to all the resolutions that were presented in your handbook. Some of the resolutions, there were some minor word changes, but whatever was in that handbook passed almost unanimously. So there really wasn't a lot of excitement with the delegate assembly. I went to the conference that weekend, and I'll have probably more PowerPoint presentations in print that you'll want to see, but I'll give those to Mrs. Holly and put them in the resource tab of board books. But I went to quite a few breakout sessions, so I'll have those for you next week. Also, Dr. Matthews, you're talking about orientation. The Oakland County School Boards Association will be hosting an orientation, and Mr. Smith, Ms. Rooney, and Ms. Ruskin are also invited. It's Wednesday night, December 5th. That's at the Oakland ISD building in Waterford. And also for all board members, December 6th, 7th, and 8th at the Oakland ISD, MASB will be sponsoring many classes as well. So we wouldn't have to go to Lansing or go up north. They're going to be in Oakland County. So anyone that wants to start taking MASB classes, they'll be available the 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Perfect. Thank you. And thanks for attending on our behalf the delegate assembly, even though it wasn't too exciting for you. Other board members have communication? Mr. Mena?
Oh, I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I don't think we have any board meetings between now and then, so enjoy and stay safe.
Yeah, definitely. And Mr. Cook?
Go ahead.
No,
A couple of things. The parents for the special needs kids, they had a parent chat last night. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. I was looking forward to coming, but schedules changed. But they also, I mentioned it last meeting, and I'm going to mention it again, their annual Above and Beyond nominations are now being taken. And again, this is for any teacher or student or staff member that goes above and beyond their job to help out these kids. And they're more than welcome to get nominated by any, they'll take nominations from anybody. Nominations right now are scheduled to end January 18th. But it's great because they do recognize everybody who gives an extra effort to help these kids out. And these kids, they have the biggest smiles in the schools. So if you haven't helped them out, I recommend going out and helping them out. It's very rewarding. So.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. And Mr. Smith?
I thought Mr. Mena would say something about it, but last week Wednesday I went to the high school and attended Band-O-Rama for the first time. And it starts with the jazz band performing, and then you go into the auditorium and you get to see the marching band and the color guard, and they do the same program that they did at Ford Field when they competed in the state championship, which they finished 5th in this year, which is fantastic if you educate yourself to learn what some of the other schools that are finishing 1st and 2nd really do to their kids. Like, they don't allow them to do as many different things as our participants do. But it was awesome. So if you haven't been to one of these things, I would encourage you to go. And Trustee Mena's daughter did a fantastic job with her flag. And it was, they actually then acknowledged all the seniors. And it was just heartfelt, warm feeling to see this diverse, amazing group of kids all hug each other and give hugs to the band director. There's a lot of parent involvement with that, and you can just tell there's some great, deep relationships and friendships with that group of people. So it was neat.
The family, right? Mrs. Hood?
I'd like to add on to that, and I usually rely on Mr. Mena to bring it up too. So I went down to Ford Field on Saturday and watched the top 7 bands, and Novi did come in 5th. But what was striking to me is I always have paid attention to how many kids in the performance between the band and the color guard. And Novi had 200 kids this year, which is quite a huge portion. It's almost 10% of our high school.
Yeah.
And I think we owe it congratulations to Mr. Horrigan, Director of Bands, for the program that he leads here. We owe a thanks to our middle school program, that the 8th graders stay in band when they go into 9th grade. And the color guard, they start young in the flag line, and they join color guard, and it is a great program. It's a team. It's the biggest team of the school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I can, I did forget to mention one thing. We will be hosting, Novi Athletics will be hosting a Division VI football semifinal game at the stadium this Saturday at 1 o'clock. So we were selected by the MHSA to host that game, which is great because that's one more football game we get to work. I know there's a few of us on the board here who'll be there working it just like we do all the other home games, but we're just kind of hoping it's not like the last one we hosted back in, I think, 2015, where it snowed and we literally had to get people shoveling the lines on the field in order to play. So anyway, looking forward to that. And that'll be, I don't know if I mentioned the teams, it's Jackson, Lumen, Christie versus Montrose that will be hosting here that afternoon.
So if you want to learn where those
I'd like to add that Mr. Mena failed to say that he's also very happy that the strategic planning process got delayed because it was originally scheduled on November 17th, and he was going to go to that football game. Strategic planning process.
All right. Terrific. Well, I'll just say really quick, the 8th grade field trip was fantastic again this year. I don't know about your bus, but 13 and a half hours in stop and start traffic, and we still did not have anybody get sick. So thank you, because...
I cannot say that.
Okay. We were very fortunate. We had a great group of students, and having gone on this trip 5 years, I think I'm amazed every year that it just gets a little bit better in terms of both the expectations and the way the kids meet them. And so I'm really happy that I was able to go. I actually got to room with Julie Warren, a police officer. I think maybe, I don't know why that was. Kenny thought
they were worried about me.
Apparently. But it was great to meet her and get to talk to her a little bit about kind of some of the training that she's even doing and her excitement really for the role that she's been placed in. So, I appreciated that, the opportunity to learn more about her, and certainly the chance to go to Washington, D.C. and, get 5 hours of sleep 3 days ago. So, anyways.
Was your incident before or after Golden Corral?
Before, surprisingly.
Anyway, so, and in light of the Oakland schools, I know that in the past, I don't know that we've had a lot of board members that have gone to conferences, but certainly I think that would be appropriate for our future board members if they're available during those times. Is that something the board can see? Does anybody have a problem with that, I guess is what I'm asking, right? I just saw the notification and thought, boy, that would be great if the future board members, if they wanted to take advantage of some of those classes to get a little head start on your board service. I think that would be appropriate. I see Mr. O'Connor.
There is one member of the board that was certified in all 9 classes before he joined the board in January of 2009. So yes, you can take as many classes as you want before you start your term.
Who is that guy?
Somebody crazy enough to take 9 MASB classes in December.
Okay, so if that is the case and we have our 2 future board member elects here, you can talk to Mrs. Holly and she can register you for those classes and get the information to you about when they're available and what they are, because I think they are offering the 101, which is kind of a day-long introduction to board service, which would probably be really helpful for both of you. I know it was helpful for me, and I think you've taken that class.
I have not.
Oh,
This
okay.
was my 101.
Okay, well, see, so you've done well, but it would, I'm sure that it would.
I'd like to take classes.
Okay, so fantastic for you to look at. I know Mrs. Holly provides those in board book, but she can provide those to our board member elects as well. So that's terrific. All right, well, without any further board communication, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Hood, supported by Mr. Smith. I would entertain a roll call vote. Mr. Mena.
Sure will. Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Hood?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee O'Connor?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Terrific. Motion carries 6-0. We thank you for being with us this evening. And Mr. O'Connor, safe travels back to the snow.
Thank you much.
All right. Have a good
Good night.
evening.